Terry Cutler is an international award-winning cybersecurity expert and ethical hacker. Known for his catchy online videos, numerous television appearances, live public speaking events, extensive coaching products, and top-level consulting services. Over the past 20 years, he's advised some of Canada's largest companies on how to prevent and remedy internal and external security penetration. For the general public, he developed an effective online learning program called Internet Safety University. With over 39,000 students from over 150 countries, he's helped educate his pupils on cybercrime, spying, security failures, internet scams, and the real social networking dangers that families and individuals face every day. Terry was named IFSEC Global's top 20 most influential people in cybersecurity for 2018, 2019, and again in 2020. And was also awarded 2017 Cybersecurity Educator of the Year award. He was also named to the Chief Information Security Officer Platform Top 100 Influencers. Please welcome your host, Terry Cutler.
Hey everyone, how are you? It's so great to see you. I want to take a moment to wish you all a very happy new year, and I hope you had a great Christmas and that Santa Claus was good to you. So if you can, please type yes so you can hear me okay. And so while we wait for the last minute stragglers to jump on, today I want to talk about some various threats that we're seeing and debunk some of the myths, especially around ransomware. And with me, I have my buddy Richard Tardif. So Richard and I have been working together since 2008. Wow, 16 years already, Richard. Happy sweet 16, buddy.
Thanks.
So Richard's a Montreal journalist, an editor and a publisher of Smiling Eyes Press. So he's handled a lot of my social media over the years, and he's also written 2 books. So he actually wrote my book, which was released back in 2020, and it's called The Insider Secrets to Internet Safety Advice from a Professional Hacker, and it's still on the Amazon bestseller list today. And same as here, this is a book that I was a part of, where it's called Good Speakers Gone Great. So it's to share my experience of talking from the big stage in front of hundreds of people or thousands of people, and some advice on how you can take advantage of that and learn better. So welcome, Richard.
Glad to be here, Terry. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Good stuff. All right, so let's get started before your ego gets too big. And
Oh, don't worry, Terry. My ego's on a diet. It won't be growing anytime soon. So.
Maybe I should be on a diet.
Well, then let's dive into it before my humility starts demanding its own spotlight. Terry, 2024 was another setting record-breaking year for ransomware. Just in the first half of 2023 alone, the data found that all of the publicized attacks represent 49% increase over the 6 months in 2023. That's amazing. But it's also important to remember that not every ransomware attack is made public. But Terry, there are common statements I hear overall when we do our social media and when we talk to people and when we go speak. The common statement I always hear from small business owners in particular is that we're too small to get hacked. Is that true? How would you respond to that?
I get that all the time, right? I get we're a clothing company, right? We make clothing. Who's going to want to hack us? Or we make tempered glass. Who's going to want to hack us? We're a flower shop. We're a dentist office. As long as your business is online, and if it's vulnerable, it will be attacked and it will be exploited. Perfect example, dentist office. We did an incident response about 1.5 years ago, and little did they know that they outsourced their IT to a managed service provider who wasn't protecting his dentist office correctly. And what happened was we found out later on that he was using the same password to log into all his customers with the same password. And then what happened was when the managed service provider got hacked into, the cyber criminals logged into each of those 40 customers and launched a ransomware attack on all these folks. Now, for those of you that don't know what a ransomware is, it's basically malicious software that gets installed in your company, and it starts scrambling all of your data and makes it completely unusable. And then what they're going to do is, they're going to ask you, hey, you want your data back? Then you got to pay. right? So, and of course, if they have access to your passwords and all these things, they can do a lot of damage, like installing malicious software on the other computers, stealing intellectual property, logging into your bank account, transfer the funds, modify, dental records if they want. So there's all kinds of stuff they can get access to.
That just sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
But we already have a question coming in. He has one question, and one that we are actually asked as well many times. If my data were ever compromised through a hack, is there a valid reason to consider paying that ransom to retrieve it? Wouldn't that be the end of it?
Okay, so there's a lot of gotchas here. A lot of business owners say, well, if I get hit with a ransom, I'll just pay the ransom and my business will come back to normal. But what happens here is that the average cyber criminal is inside your organization for a minimum of 286 days. That's been the standard so far. This thing undetected. And their goal is to stay undetected as long as possible so that they can steal out your data. And then what happens is once they feel they have enough information, then they're going to launch a ransomware attack, which is going to encrypt and scramble all of your data, make it completely unusable. And then what happens is it usually goes after your backups as well. So your backups will be affected as well. So a lot of companies don't have proper incident response plans built where, if they do get hit with a cyber attack, what are they going to do first? What are they going to do second, third? Who are they going to call? So now they're at a part where they have a double extortion where, let's say you are able to recover from a backup and your business goes back up and running. Now they have a copy of your data because they've copied it out without your knowledge. And now they can say, well, if you don't pay the ransom, we're going to leak this data and you're going to get penalized for it.
You mentioned backup plans. It sounds complicated. It sounds very complicated. But one question we have coming in, my backups will get me backed up and running if I get hit with ransomware, right? Is that true?
Well, look, the other thing too is like, because they're hidden inside your company for so long, even if you're a solopreneur, they could be inside your computer. And when you're taking backups, you're actually taking backups of the back door as well. So if you're able to retrieve your backups and install it the way it was, you may reopen that door for them to get back in. And of course, there's always that question where, if I paid a ransom, am I going to get the key back? Because remember, you are dealing with cyber criminals, right? They don't want to, you don't know if you're going to get your key back or your data. So now you're going to be out of money and out of data. So a lot of companies right now, they're also being hit with, when they get hit with ransomware and they have to pay these ransoms, there's a real risk here or consequence, I should say, because there might be layoffs because now the company had to dish out over $1 million to pay these bad guys. And now they dip into the employee fund. And now they can't afford everybody and have to start laying off folks. So it's got real consequences. Actually, maybe one thing I could mention too, if for those on the call, if you're serious about protecting your business from online threats, take a moment after the call, head over to www.cybersecuritymadeeasy.com, and we'll show you a solution where we can look at this holistically from all these ways that hackers can get in.
We have a question coming in from Derek Weston from Always Fit and Wellness. Derek wants to know if his antivirus software or any other security solution that he has will provide complete protection from ransomware attacks. Over the years, we've heard quite a bit about antivirus as being the end all to be all.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk quite quickly about antivirus. So when you're dealing with traditional antivirus solutions, they look for what's called digital signatures. So when a virus comes through to your computer, the antivirus will look at this file or whatever came through and say, oh, I know what this is. It's a virus because I know about the signature. And then your antivirus software has to update every couple of hours to get the latest feed about the latest threats. But now these infections are happening so they're so much more advanced than they used to be. So here's a perfect example. Let's say you receive an email, a Word file, and the Word file comes through, the antivirus scans it, and there's no viruses, no threats to it at all. Now, the moment you open up the Word document, everything's still fine, but then it goes and asks you, do you want to enable macros? Right? We've all seen that little pop-up that showed up. And the moment you hit yes, then now Word can go and access the malicious virus from the internet, pull it down and run it on your computer without your knowledge. And if you don't have proper antivirus solution, but this is more of a It's a higher end solution than antivirus. It's called EDR, endpoint detection and response technology, where it's going to look for weird behavior on the on the computer. So, for example, why is Word opening up a command prompt to launch some commands to go talk to other computers in your network? That's not normal behavior, and it'll cut off the process. But if you have regular antivirus, there's a great chance it's not going to pick that up.
Well, this is a lot of talk, a lot of jargon, a lot of complicated uses of language that perhaps not everyone will know, but there seems to be something you just mentioned about a minute or two ago. You mentioned double extortion ransomware. Now, this sounds like something, well, one, we don't want the single extortion ransomware. What are we talking about when we say double extortion?
So the whole purpose of ransomware is so the cyber criminals get paid. For those of you that don't know, some of these threat actors, these groups, made $90 million in 3 months, right? So they've made it much more easier now to become a cyber criminal. So now, if you want to make extra money, you can buy what's called a ransomware kit and work with these cyber criminals, and they even provide you 24-hour tech support to get these attacks going. But these guys made $90 million in 3 months. So their goal is purely monetary. They don't care who you are, but there are times they're going to research who you are and they're gonna target you specifically. But usually they just cast this wide net. And if your machines are vulnerable, or if you clicked on a link you weren't supposed to, you're going to get hit with this attack. And their goal here is to just make sure they get paid. So their goal is to really destroy your backup so you can't recover from it. So this way you have to pay the ransom when your data gets out. So here's an example. Like I have this testimonial on my website from a lawyer. He received an email, and maybe some of you on the call have gotten this too. It says, "Hey, Richard, you don't know me, but your password is this." And it's your real password. You're like, holy crap, how did this guy get my codes? How does he know my password? And then it goes on to saying, well, we've installed malicious software on your computer, and we have video footage of you watching an adult website. So we have you in split screen. And if you don't pay us $2,900 in Bitcoin, we're going to leak this footage to all of your contacts. Now, this is a bogus email, but you might be wondering, how on earth did this guy get my password? And a lot of times what happens is a lot of people use the same password ever online. And a lot of times they use really lousy password, like a John123. So to create a strong password, you want to make sure you have a combination of uppercase and lowercase and symbols in your password. And you want to have maybe between 16 and 25 characters long. Like, I know what you're thinking, right? This guy crazy, like this guy nuts. Like, how do you remember a password this long? But if you can think of song lyrics or phrases. So for example, I love using the example, "I had a great day at work, 2024, exclamation point," right? Pretty simple. So if you remove the spacing, capitalize each letter of the word, that password alone will take over 10 years to break. So since we're here to up our game, if you replace the O's with a 0, the A's with an @ symbol, and that password will take like 39 centuries to break. So, and that's what happens here, is that a lot of people created those lousy passwords, so they're able to be cracked, and the cyber criminals can see your password in full. So we have that service too. We can offer, this is what we do with a lot of our customers. We offer dark web monitoring services where we can send them an email saying, "Hey, your employee's password just leaked. Ask them to go and change it." So and they use the same password ever online. And what happens here is that using some specialized software, it allows us to log into all of your accounts, Facebook, Instagram, your banking, all these things using these passwords. And if we can get in, then they'll take control of the account and then ask you for money to take it over. Actually, since we mentioned this, maybe there's a way that if you want to know if your passwords have leaked onto the dark web for your company, you can head over to SolidLabs.com/dark web, and we can run a free scan for you and show you what's been found.
And if you want to learn more about cybersecurity in general, you can go to terrycutler.com and go on to those blogs. They are 12 to 15 blogs every month, right across Terry's social media sites, and you can also be informed from there. And from there as well, you could contact us. We have a question here. It's more of a statement than anything else, and we touched on it a bit earlier. My business is too small to be targeted for ransomware attacks, and I don't believe I should do anything more than what I'm doing.
Okay, so let me debunk that right away. The cyber criminals know that you don't have the time, money, or resources to deal with cybersecurity. That makes you the number one target. So if you're a business owner and you get hit with a cyber attack, it's either you pay up or you can lose your business, right? That's what makes you so lucrative to these guys. And then if you pay, you kind of get put on a list saying, well, hey, this guy's business is critical. There's a good chance he's gonna pay again. So hit him again. And if your cyber defenses aren't strong enough, then you'll get hit. And that's why you need to look at a holistic solution that will monitor your network, endpoint, and cloud all in one dashboard to keep you appraised of what's going on. And of course, work with a cybersecurity expert or a team that you can outsource to that'll keep an eye on your systems 24/7.
I have one more question coming in the time we have remaining. It's more on the consumer side. How does someone who doesn't have anything to do with business, works from home, how would a business ransomware attack affect, just say, the average consumer?
Okay, well, think about what you have on your home computer, right? You got your tax filing, you got your family photos, which is the biggest one. You got a contact list. You probably have some financial information, like maybe a scanned passports, digital signatures. Anything on your computer could actually be monetized, especially if you have access to, like, accounts like Amazon or eBay or PayPal or online banking. There's ways for an attacker to pull out all of your passwords from your browser, even turn on your webcam, turn on the microphone. They can spy on you, and their goal is to drain your accounts. In fact, actually, we had a live guest on a couple of years ago. She was the victim of the port out scam, and a lot of folks never heard this before. But here's what happened: she had two-step verification turned on all of her accounts. Okay, this is an additional feature you need to turn on in order to secure your Instagram account, your Facebook, anything social media. It's where you're going to type in your username and password, and then you have to enroll your cell phone into the service. And then what will happen here is that it'll either send you a 6-digit code, or maybe the authenticator app will ask you for 6 digits. So you have to type in your username, password, and then the 6-digit code in order for you to use the service. So she had this turned on all of her accounts except for one, her Hotmail. And she figured, like, who's going to want to hack my Hotmail? It's just junk mail in there. There's nothing of value. But what happened was they got access to her account. And when they went into the profile settings, they were able to see all of her security questions and the answers to them. And then they somehow convinced TELUS to transfer her line from TELUS to Bell. And when they did that, all of her two-step verification tokens went along with it. So that's when they logged into her bank account and drained it, bought stuff on Amazon and eBay. So all this was done on like a Friday night after 5 p.m. when all the operations were closed. So she would have had to wait till next business day in order to go to the bank and stop these transactions from happening. So, we're also seeing a lot of things right now with user awareness training. So if you work for a company, there's a good chance that you received some type of emails or training about what to watch out for cyber threats. We're seeing a shift now where the employees are saying, look, this is all fine and dandy, this internet safety training here, but I can't use this in my day-to-day life at home. So that's where, Internet Safety University came in. This is a project I've been working on since 2013. And it teaches you as a consumer on how to protect yourself online against threats and how to lock down your computer, how to know if you've been hacked, things like that. If you want to learn more, head over to www.terrycutlerclass.com and you'll get access to some free videos there.
Well, that about wraps it up. And this is something to behold. That we have this wonderful thing in the internet. We have access to all the information, not only on our desktops, but in our pockets. And yet we can't feel secure unless, of course, we create long passwords, and we are always vigilant. And I think that's the lesson I think we always have to remind ourselves about is we need to be on the alert at all times because we never know.
I mean, you said it really well back in 2013 when we put this together. You wouldn't let your kids drive without a course, right? So why do we do it when it comes to the internet? We should be taking an internet safety course on how to protect yourself online, because right now the threats are just rampant. So,
well, this has been great, and this has been an eye-opener even for you and me, because we've been working since 2008 and we've been writing about this for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so we can sign off. And I hope everyone here has had an interesting last 30 minutes. Or any final words, Terry, you'd like to sign off on?
Nope. So just nothing. Just there'll be more videos like this coming. So of course, if you've got questions, you can always send them in. You can send them over to ask@terrycutler.com, and we'll get them answered on the next video.
And if you have any questions for me, richard@richardtardif.com, and you can check out my site, richardtardif.com.
Actually, there is something I can bring up too. So one of the things I often get asked is that, Terry, I love your book. I want to write myself a book as well. And how do I get started? Do I self-publish? They have all these questions that they have asked. So my advice to them was never to self-publish it, because if you have any plagiarism or then stuff wasn't attributed properly, you will be in trouble. Maybe you could talk about how we got our books up and running.
Certainly, we had a wealth of information from the years of writing and blogging, but there was nothing more put together or puzzle piece than we needed. And we also had to be certain that we weren't going to publish something that no one would read. And that's what we do. Basically, we created an outline, and we worked on the outline, and the outline grew much larger than we anticipated. But that same outline was actually the table of contents in your book and in most people's book. And then we go from that. I like to say that I'm an independent publisher, but I'm not a self-publisher. I do help people who want to self-publish, who have written books, who don't want to go the traditional route. But I do offer that same level of professionalism. I do have a team I work with, and it's my honor to almost guarantee you I can get you on a bestseller list. But we always work one-on-one and work together. So you can.
Well, the advantage we have too, right, is that both of the books are on Amazon bestsellers. So you know what you're doing for that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how we start from have an idea and a concept, but we actually start to move forward step by step. I think one of the things that a lot of people are not understanding, well, probably many do and many don't, is it's not as simple as creating a manuscript and handing it over to an editor.
Yeah.
You are part of the process. You are part of the editing, because as an editor myself, I would not know exactly what you went through. So you have to be a one-on-one thing. And this is something I guarantee my clients, we work together. In fact, I've become friends with all my clients. We have such a good time. And editing can be a wonderful, wonderful process. Yeah. Sure, there's work involved. And sure, you could be up after work for hours answering my questions, such as, what do you mean by this? Who said this? Are you sure about this? Oh, that's a little bit crazy. Yeah. And we start to work together. But in the end, we want a final product and a book that you can be proud of and that you can share with everyone. Because most of us, when we write books, we have something to say.
Well, that's why if you want to see some behind the scenes of what we did by writing the book or the launching of the book, you can head over to terrycutlerbook.com. Richard, there was one question that came in from my buddy Luke over here. I want to answer this. Shout out to Luke. So the question is, do ransomware need to have a human intervention, like a click or an action, in order to get this ransomware installed? Or can it just get into the computer without any human interaction? So there's two steps here. Usually it always involves a human interaction. He's going to receive an email that he wasn't supposed to get. He's going to open up an attachment or click a link. And a lot of companies or even individuals, they have administrator rights on their computer, which means that it gives the virus full reign to infect everything on the computer. So usually it's a human that clicks on something it wasn't supposed to and activates the virus. Or it could happen where, if you have a remote access computer exposed to the internet and it's and it has vulnerabilities on it, the ransomware threat actor can just interact with it, exploit that vulnerability, and infect you right away without any interaction in moments.
That's something we wrote about in 2010. I remember everything from the photocopier repairman could even be a spy looking over your shoulder at your passwords, or just a simple email that looked like it come from the CEO.
Yeah.
And we don't want to upset the CEO or the boss. So right away we click on and we answer yes, 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 yes. and then we're into the system. So you're telling me someone could be snooping and footprinting around your system for years, just waiting for the right moment.
Here's another thing, another comment I always get. Well, Terry, I don't open up emails from people I don't know. That's so I'm safe. I just love this one because what's happening here is, as a small business owner, whether it's you or somebody else, they get hacked into, and then they get used as a jump point to attack another company. So if their email servers get compromised, so company A can send you an email to company B, and it'll be like a legit email. It came from the company, from their servers. Everything's legit, and you clicked on that link. So it didn't get flagged as spam or anything like that. It was a legit email, and or even if your own employees, your fellow employee got hacked, and they sent an email to the whole team, and everybody clicked on the links and infected the company that way. So,
and it is tax season, and what are we getting in our emails?
Canadian
Revenue Agency. That's something that's happening quite a bit, and many people still click on it. What can you say about that?
Well, I mean, they're not expecting. I mean, it's because at the time now they're expecting to receive emails from the IRS or the Canada Revenue Agency. So it's tax time, as you mentioned. So they're not going to suspect foul play. So that's the perfect time when the so-called Canada Revenue Agency is going to be sending you PDF files or attached Word documents or Excel files, anything that gets you open up something. You're going to be a prime target.
It's tough because we just bought some furniture and we're getting texts and emails like, how was the service? I mean, did the technicians come in time? Were they polite? And I don't know whether to click on that to go to the site to see. So I think one of the things I do is I call my sales agent up to avoid that. And it's perfectly legit, the company that's sending me the email, but I think the lesson here is caution.
Yeah,
much better.
I would say also, like if you're a business owner, or you want to see if your business is vulnerable online, there's a site called Shodan.io. A lot of companies don't know what this is, but it's dubbed the world's most dangerous search engine. What this thing does is it scans everybody online, all the companies, all your websites, everything, and stores in its database all your vulnerabilities. So we have the capability of tapping into those resources and kind of show you from a hacker's point of view how vulnerable you are online. And we'll provide you a nice little report. Actually, let me send you guys a link here. So this is called an attack surface report. So we get to show you, here's a list of all your vulnerable softwares that you have exposed to the internet. Is your email server properly set up? Because you have what's called a DMARC record or SPF records that will prevent spam from getting into your inbox, or having somebody spoof your domain to make it look like it came from somebody else. Okay, there's all these things. So we're going to show you in this report what's available online about you, so you get to see how vulnerable you are. In fact, if you outsource your IT to a managed service provider, this is going to be important here. So think of IT as your family doctor, right? Would you ever ask your family doctor to perform laser eye surgery on you, right? Most people would say no. So this is where you can actually see how vulnerable your MSP is. And if they're in bad shape, you need to contact a cybersecurity firm or expert to help complement them in order to help you stay protected.
Well, Terry, this is the only podcast I know where we've signed off and kept talking.
Yes. Now we're signing off. We don't want to keep it too long. There's no shortage of content for future videos.
This has been enlightening adventure, and we hope we can enlighten everyone in the future.
All right. So everybody, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video.
From basic auditing to monitoring the dark web, to phishing and awareness training, to building your policies and procedures and disaster recovery plans, to manage detection and response and mapping your company's IT to compliance frameworks using best practices, to a nationwide tech force to help you with remediation after a data breach or ransomware attack. You'll have everything you need in a partner to help secure and grow your business. Meet Cyology Labs, your trusted accountability partner to help you keep an eye on your cybersecurity and transform the way you present yourself to the world, your partners, and your vendors. Start with a basic audit to help you identify your organization's security deficiencies and areas of strengths and weaknesses against the latest cybersecurity frameworks. This audit will help explain where you are and where you should be and where you need to be. Next, we can help you implement the products and solutions you need to help you qualify for cyber insurance and help prevent a data breach. Call Cyology Labs now at 1-844-CYOLOGY to speak with a Cyologist and get started today.